Hi, and everybody, welcome to Emotional Intelligence and Essential Oil Alchemy. So tonight we're going to be talking about how we can use essential oils to support and even create emotional responses within our body. So if you've got this Emotional Essential Oils book, it'd be great for you to have that. If you don't, you'll be able to add in what oils you actually want or what oils come up for you off the charts throughout the course of the event, and just comment in the event, and I'll screenshot them to you. Okay. So this is recorded just before it goes on, so I'll be able to sit and actually respond to your comments as the class is actually playing. So, all right. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of overcoming it, and I think that's probably a really key point for this class. Essential oils are fantastic tools that support you overcoming or being in control of your emotions as opposed to them being controlling you. So what are emotions? Emotions are short-lived chemical responses in the brain and or the body. Mood is a state of mind or predominant emotion. Feelings are an awareness of a physical and emotional sensation. And beliefs are the result of our emotional experiences and decisions. So I guess they're sort of longer term feeling about something, emotion it lasts a lot longer than the emotion itself. So where do emotions come from? They're chemically, biologically, and spiritual origins for emotions. And certain oils affect us differently than other oils. So each individual oil has individual chemistry. So they actually stimulate the brain differently to each other. So we can look to certain oils for certain outcomes. So let's find out why. All right, so what we're dealing with is the limbic system, which targets our emotions and our memories. So we've got all sorts of different senses coming in: taste, touch, sight, and sound. But we're looking at the smell. So the experience is in and the emotional reactions out. So basically we have a trigger. So it might be taste, hearing. Obviously in this situation we're looking at smell. It is interpretation. So it's already having a signal in our brain before we even have an emotional response. It compares it to older experiences and determines an appropriate emotional response, which then creates the chemical response and therefore stimulates a physical response within the body. So if you've walked into a restaurant and smelt apple pie, for example, and it's immediately reminded you of something, it's just going back through that filing cabinet and finding something that it reminds it of. So basically we're talking about pathways and patterns. What kinds of emotional patterns are formed? Anger, fear, sadness, all sorts of different things. And why are they so hard to break? Thoughts and memories generate emotional reactions to reinforce patterns. So the brain is energy efficient and chooses well-worn pathways first. So if a certain behaviour triggers a certain reaction in you, it will continue to do that unless you retrain a new pathway, because ultimately it's designed there to save us in a flight or flight type situation. So let's just think of, a lion chasing you. Anytime you smell something or experience something that reminds you of that, you automatically are triggered to run, for example. So that's basically the same thing. You don't have to recreate the wheel, but the point is that we're no longer running from lions all that often. But we're probably still experiencing those negative emotions, so we just got to recreate positive ones. Mentally and emotionally, you're anticipating how something is going to affect you, which is basically what I just said. So we just have to recreate those. And it's not you, it's those neural pathways. So we can actually create new neural pathways by repetitive cognitive exercises, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So essential oil connection, how do we cope? Essential oils offer chemical benefits without the side effects. And I think that's the pretty cool thing about our essential oils is they're very dynamic and they have amazing health benefits throughout the body. So even if you don't get it quite right, you're still not experiencing side effects that you would say from drugs that improve a serotonin or a dopamine or what are those sorts of things that are not doing it naturally. So how does it work? We'll have a chemistry class, and why does that matter? Because you need to believe and know that change is possible. So the neuroscience of aromatherapy is essentially that the essential oil aroma, or these aromatic compounds found within our essential oils, processed through the olfactory bulb. So the olfactory bulb's at the top of our nose. It's the only part of the brain that's exposed to the outside world, and then that processes through that limbic system that we're talking about in the brain. And it can create a positive response or a negative one, depending on what you want. But obviously we want to create a positive emotional response, and then that creates a beneficial chemical response in the body. So each aroma has unique chemical signature, as I discussed before. So we talk a lot in our intro classes about lavender having high levels of linalool, or citrus typically have limonene. And citrus are oils that we commonly look to for mood enhancement. So that comes down to that chemical that's often in citrus oils. Essential oils have a direct impact on the chemical communication system in our brain. So that chemical response, the fourth step, is it literally just fits in there like a key straight away. So we can quickly create those physical responses we're hoping to in the body. So I touched on this before, our major neurotransmitters, serotonin. I'm sure you've probably heard a lot of these. It's often in line when they're talking about things like cocaine and stuff, enhance and even endorphins. So we know that endorphins help with pain relief. So that's something the body naturally creates during child labour, those sorts of things. So we're able to stimulate this naturally as opposed to synthetically, which then overrides the body system, and then it stops making it. So you end up with a peak and a trough, hence why people get addicted to things. And they might boost their serotonin or their dopamine while they're taking that particular thing, but as soon as they go off it, the body stops making it, and they have this massive drop. So it has its good and bad points. And the final level is intention and energy. The body's energy system is inseparably connected to our emotional and spiritual life. Essential oils' high vibration is deeply healing and balancing, and I think this is something that most people that get involved with essential oils on a regular basis just find that vibration is lifting, and they're looking for more positive things in their life, and it's healing wounds without them even feeling. In fact, if you read the front of that Emotions and Essential Oil book, it actually talks about a little girl that was badly burned and how her emotions started bubbling out after using the essential oils. Essential oils are powerful catalysts and should be used in tandem with our emotional work. And again, we're going to touch on this and how we can add in our the work part of this workshop to enhance the essential oils. All right, so I know I kind of worked through that fairly fast, but I wanted to get through that and get to the hands-on part. So if you get your notebook out, you'll need that the essential oil wheels, and we're going to work through our negative emotions, where that stem from, and then work through to the positive emotions, and then pick oils so we can create daily practices to improve our emotional intelligence. So we're going to start off with geranium oil. So if everybody that's got it, get it out. It's the oil of love and trust. Feel free to put a drop in your hand and rub that together and cup it over and take a few deep breaths while I'm talking about it. Geranium facilitates trust, especially when it has been lost due to difficult life circumstances. It encourages emotional honesty, love, and forgiveness. It aids in healing the broken heart and facilitates the emergence of grief or pain that has been suppressed. Geranium could be called the emotional healer. So at any point in this class, this is obviously a pre-recorded class, so you can just pause it, do the work, and then move on to the next section. So please feel free to do that if you want to take some time breathing in the aromas of geranium. All right, so the exercise we're going to do is to identify our limiting beliefs and the internal conflicts holding us back. Healing is a sacred journey. It takes courage to see what is uncomfortable. Generally, negative beliefs block us from the very things we desire the most. Your courage to identify negative beliefs provide an opportunity to release it and create a new path, or that neural pathway that we're talking about. Are you ready to give this gift to yourself? Healing, I don't know why that comes up again, sorry. What are you struggling with now? Okay, so what I want you to do is take your notebook and ponder this question. What are you struggling with right now? What occupies your mind, keeps you awake at night, and makes you doubt or feel regret? And again, please just pause it if you want to take your time filling this out. How is this affecting you today? Where do you see these things show up in your day-to-day life, physically, emotionally, relationships? And I use an example of my kids getting ready for school in the morning and how I automatically assume they're not going to listen because, you know, when you tell them 20 times over 2 years to put their shoes on and they don't do it, you create that neural pathway. But ultimately that is expecting that outcome. So how is this affecting you today? So just think about that. Of these things you've listed, which is the emotionally charged? Like, what really, circle it, what's really making you hot under the collar? And how does it make you feel? Please write down those feelings. And from this, choose the words or words that best match what you wrote down. Are there things you were struggling with that you didn't note before? So if there's more emotions to see on there that make sense to you, write them down. And again, you'll see that there's oils matching up to these different emotions. And if you don't have the book and you can't take the time to read about it, please send that through in the comments and I can add them in for you. So jot down the corresponding oils, as I said, and read the emotions book. I've already said that, sorry. Okay, were you surprised by what you discovered? Is there something you already knew but you haven't been sure how to shift or change it? And is your oil one you're already drawn to or particularly love? The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old but on building the new. And I think that's so relevant to so many things when we talk about mindset. It's all about saying the positive things instead of manifesting the bad, focusing on the new neural pathway instead of focusing on the bad. And the more we look for the negative, the more we'll find it. The more we look to the positive, the more we'll find it. So it's totally mind over matter. All right, so next oil is vetiver, the oil of centering and descent. So please take out your vetiver and have a smell of that. Take a few deep breaths, take your time if you need to. Vetiver assists individuals in deeply connecting with what they think and feel. In this way, it is incredibly supportive in all kinds of self-awareness work as it helps uncover the root of an emotional issue. It also helps them find relief once they have travelled within and met the core of their emotional issue. So digging deeper, we're now going to peel back another layer to discover deeper emotional patterns and limiting beliefs. What is the cause? What is causing you to hold on to these emotional patterns? What's the benefit? And where is the core? Like, what is the core of that limiting belief? What happens if you don't uncover the root? Like, where are you going to be stuck? And what's the opportunity cost? What are you going to miss out on if you don't discover these limiting beliefs? So I want to talk now about the inner critic. Recognizing your inner critic. Reopen your journal and read what you wrote and how you felt and see the telltale signs of the conversation happening within you. All right, so turn the page now if you've had a bit of time with that. Again, pause at any time you want to and expand on the message it's sending you and what it feels like. So if you're having a hard time identifying this voice, simply think about doing something big, bold and out of the box, amazing, just makes you want to jump for joy. A new goal, a great accomplishment, achieving what you desire. And what comes next into your mind? Start writing it straight away. What is that little niggling voice in the back that's telling you you can't do it? Write that down. Where did it come from? Is it your voice? If it's not your voice, whose voice is it? And the damaging dialogue of your inner critic forms your limiting belief. So whatever that is telling you in the background is what creates that glass ceiling that you just can't get through until you recognize it. So identifying your limiting beliefs and writing them down clearly is a necessary step. Because of the voice inside, what do you believe to be true about yourself? How do you see yourself? How do you define yourself, and what faults do you believe you have? What are these limiting beliefs costing you? What is that glass ceiling stopping you from getting to? And what would life be like without this belief? Do you want that life? Do you still want to believe that these things, or make a new choice? So what to do now? And again, if you need some more time to go back through that, just pause it and work through it in your own time. Discover truth within. Finding your authentic voice. It may be quiet and faint and require work to identify, but it is the truthful, kind, and wants what's best for you. Okay, so we're going to have a bit more free writing exercise. So again, pause it whenever you need. And remember, your authentic voice isn't as loud as or as powerful as your inner critic. Resist the temptation to dismiss the soft voice and listen instead to the familiar critic. Do not edit or censor. Write everything that comes to you. Do not lift your pen from the paper. Let everything flow continuously and give your authentic voice space to be heard. What does your authentic voice want you to know? And what has it been trying to tell you? Are the things that your inner critic's telling you true? What are you truly capable of? And again, don't censor this, just write it all down. Don't let your inner critic get in the way. And the last question, what is the truth about you? Recognize the gift in the message, hold it sacred, and write down how you will honour this voice in your daily life. So reflect on what you've written and come up with some sort of affirmation or manifestation, I guess. And again, remember to keep it positive, not I will not be disorganized. Say I will be organized and amazing. So make sure you always keep it in the current tense, and even will be. It's not will be. I am amazing and organized, not I will be organized when I stop being disorganized or something like that. All right. And reinforce and remember. So find the emotions you need to reinforce, the ones you need to support and remember. Choose oils to support the emotional framework offered by your authentic self. So you'll notice here we've flipped to the positive emotions now. So we're looking for what we're working on as opposed to what we're working through. And we're going to use both of those in conjunction because each oil has a positive and a negative. And again, read the oil descriptions in the Emotions and Essential Oils book and note down what speaks to your heart. And again, if you don't have the book, just put down the oils that came up for you and I can screenshot them into the event. All right. Internalize the core message that you need to take home. What are you capable of and what is the truth about you? That is the key here. And commit to partnering with your oils to anchor this message into your heart, mind, and soul. And will you share your journey? Of course you will. If you have an amazing outcome, you want to be positive with other people. It just happens. All right, and last but not least, we're going to use our peppermint, the oil of the buoyant heart. So take a big deep breath. Peppermint brings joy and buoyancy to the heart and soul. It invigorates body, mind, and spirit. It reminds individuals that life can be happy, they have strength needed to face their emotional reality, and that they don't have to be controlled by fear. Peppermint assists in rediscovering the joy of being alive. And healing yourself is connected with healing others. And I think actually anyone that's involved in doTERRA would definitely agree with that. Okay, now there's one last thing that I want to do before I go. Hi guys. Okay, I want to quickly show you this. And this is the same thing. So I've got two here, two different types. And that's what we call an aromatic dressing bowl, okay? So essentially all it is a small vessel that we can put about 10 mils of fractionated coconut oil, all right? And and I'm sure most of you know, but fractionated coconut oil is liquid even when it's cold, and it's really absorbent into our skin, so it helps the oils get into those dermal layers of our skin. So choose your three oils. I've just obviously got peppermint, vetiver, and geranium from the thing. And put a maximum of 5 drops in 10 mils of oil. That's what you need because you're going to apply the whole lot. And you're going to apply this to your entire body. And whatever that positive statement that you've come up with after talking to your authentic voice, you're going to say this while you're applying this. So it also works physically for our lymphatic system, but we're going to start down our legs and we're literally going to rub the oil into our body, always coming up to our heart, or our stomach, on our bums, loving all those bits that we often feel a little bit irritated about, arms, legs, the whole lot, always to the heart, down to the heart, and then I even do the bits of my hair. All right, and do this on a daily basis to, concrete that work you've done on what you want to achieve emotionally. All right, so yeah, please pause and start as often as you need to, and yeah, just anyone that doesn't have the book, please send through what it is that you're after and go ahead and do that. The other thing I want to mention is the book that's on this slideshow is actually the book that doesn't have the recent oils from the US convention. So just let me have a look at that. It is the 5th edition. Okay, so the new one is the 6th edition. You can get it from enlightenedhealing.com now. It's not available on Australian Aroma Tools yet, but it will have the new oils like Manuka, Litsea, and all the oils that released at convention. So Neroli, Blue Tansy, those sorts of ones, all right? So I've used the old book because at the end of the day, most people have that at the moment, and it still, leaves you with a lot of options. But if you are looking to buy the book, make sure you buy the 6th edition because obviously it's the newest one. All right. Well, thank you very much for being here, and please send through your comments and your oils and anything you'd like to share would be wonderful. Thank you.